Welcome to Upshift. In the previous video that we are talking about practical applications of how to conduct a materiality assessment. With this, we have completed first 6 steps in terms of formulation of a sustainability strategy for your business. Now we know what are the prioritized materiality topics in my business or my value chain. Now you may be wondering what would be the next step in formulation of the sustainability strategy for your business. After identifying the focused or prioritized materiality topics for your business in terms of environmental, social and governance aspects are considered, it's time for you to understand the current status of it. In other words, what's your current performance? Whether you have data with you or else what's the current level of performance? Whether there are any issues that you are managing at the moment. For example, past incidents, sanctions from legal authorities, sanctions from your customers, so on and so forth. And also the capability of the organization to manage those materiality topics at the moment. To do that, to manage that, you could refer available data in your business, conducting brainstorming session with your teams, and also get the support of a third party to evaluate the current status. This current status analysis help you to set the right baseline for all these materiality topics with respect to current baseline that you could focus on what you are going to focus for the future. After understanding the current status or after conducting the current status analysis with respect to those prioritized material topics, then you need to know what you are going to focus on. To do that, you need to understand what's potential for you in terms of managing those materiality topics. There may be opportunities for you to differentiate with respect to your competitors in the market. That could always create a competitive edge or blue ocean for yourselves. At the same time, there may be an opportunity for you to come up with something innovative. It can be a product or it can be a process even that will differentiate yourselves with respect to others. And also, the potential can be improvement in terms of your overall efficiency. That will help you to reduce your cost and enhance your profits or the bottom line. Those are certain opportunities that you could look into. On the other hand, you could look into what are the risks that you are going to manage. For example, there may be regulatory risks that you are going to manage it. Or else there may be certain risks associated with your stakeholders. For example, your customers have certain expectations. You may not be fulfilling them, especially when you are in B2B business, for instance. Having said that, you may be wondering how you could exactly focus in on potential opportunities as well as how effective that you are going to manage the risk. Let me talk about in detail. You may be able to use certain international standards, international benchmarks, or benchmark in the industry or the market that you are engaged in. You can find benchmark. If you are not the leader in the market, you could have certain benchmarks. With respect to those benchmarks, you can understand the current gap and focus towards it. For example, if it is related to greenhouse gas emission, you could focus on net zero commitments, science-based target initiatives, so on and so forth. The other aspect of it is you could understand what your competitors are doing and what's the gap between the aspiration as well as what your competitors are doing and target on that. That's also another way that you could handle it. Therefore, after understanding the current status, you could determine what potential in you in terms of focusing for your strategy. Even though you identify the potential opportunities that you could capitalize as well as risks that you are going to manage with your sustainability strategy focusing on the materiality topics, there is a challenge that is about your organizational capability. Sometimes you see the potential but your capability is not sufficient. You need to understand current capability in the organization. It may include your resources, the knowledge and the competence of resources, maybe your financial status to invest in capitalizing those opportunities as well as managing those risks. Not only that, but also the geographical challenges that you may have, infrastructure challenges you may have. That also you better understand and evaluate whether you are going to make it or not. Because you may be coming up with a nice strategy focusing on something aspirational. As long as if you are unable to make it or deliver it, you are going to be in trouble. Therefore, it is important to understand once you map the potential opportunity or how you are going to manage the risk for the identified materiality topics, whether you have the right capability, required investment, required upgrade in your resources, so on and so forth. Once you do that, you need to focus on in terms of getting the approval from your leadership or your shareholders. Now you have mapped what you want to achieve and also you have identified the required capability gaps that you are going to bridge, but still you need to present it to your leadership to get the approval to proceed with, because you may be focusing on 3 to 5 years strategy. In today's context in business, it may be limited into 3 years or maximum 5 years, but within 3 to 5 years you need to ensure that you will get the support from or the alignment from your leadership in terms of having required resources to drive these strategies. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, after completing all these steps, understanding the current status or the current status analysis, identifying potential opportunities and the risks that you are going to manage with the identified material topics, and also identifying the required capability in the organization to bridge to meet those expectations and getting the approval for your strategy, then you could come up with your sustainability strategy. Remember, this strategy has to be something ambitious. At the same time, it has to be something realistic as well. It should not be a document that you are going to display on the boards or present to your stakeholders, but also you need to ensure that strategy is going to be implemented in the ground. You may need to have tactical plan that you are going to work on, maybe annualized plan or monthly plan or quarterly plan, so on and so forth. I believe with this focus, you will be able to come up with your own sustainability strategy for your business. I would like to invite you to go through the annual report of the global brands as well as local giants in the businesses that you operate in and understand what they've been focusing in terms of their sustainability strategy. That will help you to understand how they have identified the material topic, identified the opportunities for them to capitalize, and set the sustainability strategy for the business. Stay tuned.